Hey Jenna, this is Rob. I'll apologize in advance for the sound of my voice. I've been at Greenbelt all week and I've been talking all day for the last 2 days, but I finally got a chance to sit down in the hotel and get a look at your work. And first off, congratulations. You've put a lot of effort into this and I see a lot of thought. I am going to suggest many changes here, and I really don't want you to take it personally or feel like you have to address every one of them. Looking at more from a learning point of view, so we can figure out how we can make this plan actually function and meet code, but also can become a bit of a stronger building if that's okay with you. All right, so first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to have a way for the buses to come in here, and we're probably going to take that road all the way out and through. So what's going to happen is the buses are going to come in, they're going to pull over, and they're going to leave out of this way. Actually, this goes that way, yeah. So it's sort of, because where you have it right now probably wouldn't work. And then you're going to show a little bit of a, I guess what you call a lane for people to drive in and out, which is great. What you don't really have though is you don't really have a drop-off area. From what I can tell in the plans, I believe you're considering this to be your main entrance, which is, I mean, I get what you're doing there and I understand why you're doing that because you want to link to where these drop-offs are, but you also have a responsibility to think about how people enter the building from the city. So you've made this nice garden, which makes a lot of sense, but if they wanted to enter your building through that, they'd probably have to walk all the way around here. And so I'm wondering if there's a way that we can solve that. I don't have a solution for that quite yet, but I will. Now, some more things that we want to take a look at in your plan. Uh, so when I was looking over at your second floor, it looks like you need a fire stair at the end of that corridor on the second floor. You could put it on this side or this side, or you can do the stair any way you want. But certainly you're going to need another stair because if I enter here and I want to go upstairs, I'd have to walk all the way down here to this, which is probably unlikely. Typically, this would also be a fire stair, and it would have access to the outdoors in case of a fire. That's not unusual for a school to have two fire stairs, one on either end. That's sort of the cheapest way to do it. So you could take a look at that also. I mean, my dream is, and again, I can't read all these rooms, so I don't know what that room is, but I mean, the other idea is to kind of have an entry here, which is your main entry, and then have a card access entry here where only teachers and uh, parents can get in and students, so that people would park their car here if they're a visitor and maybe enter the school here. Of course, that'll change the shape and size of your building, and that might be okay. Um, so that's sort of a major consideration is do you want to make this the entry? Typically you have an entry here if you were doing a school like this with a fire stair down at this end. And then you have your nice access right to the outdoors, which is actually pretty good. Now, I like the farmer's market idea here. I'm wondering if depending on how you design this space here, the farmer's market might really want to be right on the corner of the East Falls neighborhood. Maybe it lines up right on the street, or maybe this whole thing becomes farmer's market, which is a great idea. And now if your entry into your building is here, people could come in from the farmer's market and use the bathrooms. I can't tell. Again, I don't know quite what this is, but maybe this is a boys and girls room. I'm not sure, but that would be great. So typically when you want to have a public function in the school, you want to have access to the bathrooms. So that's probably pretty important. I'm really liking this guy, this pavilion here. I think it's too close to the building here, and I think it's a little too big. I would probably move it down closer to the road, maybe down here, maybe make it a little smaller. And I would probably split it with science looking this way. I know you're going to have some stormwater action here, and I would probably have the art look that way into this. When you draw your trees, don't be shy. Put lots of trees in. You're really trying to create a buffer between the school and the city. So, you know, you're really looking at something like this. And then here you might look at some more trees that are more sculptural. But what you want to try to do is create a space that kids would want to play in or do art or music in. So that would be something that I would suggest to you. And There was something else I wanted to share about this one plan here. So again, I think this looks like office space here, which would make sense to be near the front entry. And I do apologize for having you rip up your plan. This dimension right here would be 24 feet right there. That's the minimum requirement. And these typically tend to be 20 feet. So I'll assume that you've got that at the right thing. So the main thing here is entry. I would move the entry to here and have a much more urban solution and just do card swipe here, or have another teacher stationed there in the morning for when people get dropped off. Now on the second floor, obviously here's where you see the reason you need the stair. This corridor has to go all the way through and has to link out to a fire stair here, otherwise people will die. If there was a fire right here, for example, everybody that would be in these rooms would not be able to get through to this stair. I think this stair should be a fire stair. Not sure what that is over there. That might be, maybe you were putting a stair there. I can't read what that says, so I'm not quite sure. And then what's really interesting, so this again, I would move this down a little bit. This could be a really interesting space. You've got two sort of undefined spaces. What you could do, which would be really interesting, is you could have a balcony here. So you move these doors over here, and then when people walk to the gym, when the people are walking around up here, they can look down into the lobby and they can walk down into the gym. So that would be pretty useful. And this looks like, not sure what that is. And that would work out pretty well. And then you've got your fire stair there, and that should help your second floor be much improved. Now, what I would do in Revit is I would go for the flat roof as your default, because you're going to be doing solar. So you really want to think about your roofs as they're going to be used for solar, or you do a sloped roof that kind of does this kind of action, right, where it gets very high. Oh, I'm wrong. I'm sorry. Let me fix that real quick because I don't want to have confusion. I think there's an eraser, right? Yeah. I really don't want this to be confusing. So what you want to do here is you want to slope the roof this way. I would slope the roof that way and use an angle that's very good for solar, so that the panels can be mounted right on the roof. And what that also gives you an opportunity for is in certain situations to get more light in on the north side of the building. So choose on the second floor, because you'll have a higher wall here. Or if you really want that, you could slope it here back at the end, but obviously you want to maximize solar based on your benchmarks. Same thing here. Here I probably would go completely flat so you don't shade anything over here. And flat roofs can be nice. You have to think about parapets and such, but that should help. And here I think you can see that it's probably a little too close for comfort there. So this is a north view. So in what I'm missing is, on the second floor I probably have a lot of windows, if I'm not mistaken, that are not shown here. And on the south view, this is the one I wanted to see, is I want you to start thinking about the shading of these windows and the size of these windows. You could talk to Shannon about window to wall ratio, WWR, and you can figure out what the right amount of glass is. Typically we like to do clear stories. So in a typical section we might do something like this, where you have, I'm going to explain this in a minute. So right now I know it's confusing to you, but just stand by. We might have the most simple form, and by the way, when you have a flat roof you get a little parapet there. And here comes your floor, roughly. Oh, that's messed up, sorry. I don't want to be confusing. And so this would be your windows, and then your floor line is over here. So the sun is here. This is a section drawing. So here's a person standing here, and they are able to look out. And here's the wall here. This is a window right there, and this is a clear story window here. So when you have the south light coming in, you get one of these deals where you get the light that bounces back, which is really nice. And the other thing you can get is you get light coming here and gets shaded down by these little horizontal things. And I have a picture of what these look like. I just saw one, prefabricated one at Greenbuild. In the wintertime the sun is down here and the light will just stream in and help with your heating situation. So what I want you to do is start to take a look at this part of your building very carefully and try to think about how you could get the performance. I'm assuming there are windows in here. So this is really the next step that you're in, and I think we made some good progress here. So southeast, right, so you should probably try to take on your views orthogonal, meaning directly looking at them. So I think that this looks like you're kind of skewed here, but this is straight on here. Um, so not sure what to say there, but I would definitely get rid of these roofs immediately. I know those are the default roofs in Revit, but I might try to get rid of those. Proven to increase test scores. Right, so that's what you want to spend a lot of time here is really how you bring natural light into the building. And you can you can build it in Revit, and you can cut a section at a bigger scale so we can look at it in more detail. Um, and really, I think that's your next task: the roofs, the windows, reworking the plans. The sooner you can get that, the sooner I'll give you more feedback. I do apologize for the delay, and hopefully this will be helpful.